The 49ers recently showed everyone why they're a class above the Cowboys right now. San Francisco took Dallas to school in a matchup that was over before it even started. They were dominant in every single facet of the game, did whatever they wanted on offense, and shut nearly everything down on defense. It was such a shocking outcome for me, because I expected the game to be much closer than it actually was. Instead, the 49ers did what they've done all season, which is dominate teams from start to finish. The game not only showed the gap between the 49ers and the Cowboys, but why the gap is as big as it is right now. Kyle Shanahan's offense put Dallas in a blender, taking advantage of every individual talent his players have to exploit the Cowboys. The same can be said of the defense, as Mike McCarthy and his players were put in a straitjacket for 60 minutes. Because of the outcome, and because this video was requested, I wanted to take a deep dive into this game. How were the 49ers as dominant as they were, and what specifically happened in order for their margin of victory to be 32 points? We're going to answer that in this video by looking at key plays on both the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. Let's first start with the 49ers offense and Cowboys defense, because that's where San Francisco won this game in my mind. As they always do, Shanahan and the 49ers threw out all the stops with lots of pre-snap motions, complex route combinations, and interesting run plays, and it just tore Dallas apart. We have to talk about Brock Purdy as well, but we'll get to him eventually. One thing I noticed is that the 49ers used lots of motion to draw defenders out of space they wanted to target. They did this immediately on the second play of the game on a 1st and 10. A subtle but quick motion from Kyle Juszczyk draws Jalen Kearse out wide with him, and once he vacates, there's nobody left to cover the open space he just left. Brandon Ayuk is called to run a slant to this part of the field, and it's an easy 9 yards as both of Dallas's linebackers are distracted by the action on the boundary side. Later in the game on a 1st and 10, they do the same thing. This time, it's Juszczyk running the slant and Christian McCaffrey sent on the motion. Dallas originally has 3 guys in the middle of the field, but Leighton Vander Esch is drawn away by the motion. The 2 remaining guys are again going to be distracted by what's happening on the opposite side of the field, and it leaves plenty of space for Purdy to throw this pass and complete it for a nice gain. This play included another motion to a slant that was designed to create a mismatch with Deebo Samuel. He lines up in the backfield pre-snap, but quickly motions out into the slot to become the number 3 receiver. It happens too quickly for Dallas to adjust, leaving Leighton Vander Esch, a linebacker, on Deebo Samuel. LOL. The matchup goes exactly how you'd expect it to go. Deebo cooks Vander Esch and makes the catch to set the 49ers up on the 1. It's nothing against Vander Esch, it's just a mismatch that San Francisco created and exploited. The 49ers did it on run plays too, like on this 2nd and 12 play. Usually, this is a passing situation, but San Francisco finds a way to make this play work. Another subtle motion from Juszczyk causes the Dallas front to play the wide side of the field, leaving the boundary side wide open, and that's exactly where the 49ers intended to run this play. Right after the snap, Juszczyk immediately changes direction, George Kittle joins him on a pulling block, and they both get hands on defenders. After that, it's just a matter of how fast Deebo can get to the outside, and he does so successfully for an 11-yard gain. They have a lot of motions, but it's always motions with a purpose, and that's what I really like about this 49ers offense. The play designs Shanahan cooked up were just as excellent. We could start with this 1st and 10 where the 49ers have Ayuk and Raymond McLeod bunched up on the wide side with this route combination. It's straight man coverage for Dallas, so the 2 defenders here aren't going to switch their assignments despite the overlapping routes. Ayuk strongly makes it look like he's going to take his route up the sideline, but just after McLeod gets further upfield, he suddenly cuts back inside to the space behind him. Kearse isn't prepared and has his hips turned, and Ayuk has the space to make the catch for a 1st down. It's a good throw too. A similar thing happened on a 3rd and 2, and there's a lot to unpack here. The 49ers come out in a 3-by-1 look, but then Kittle motions across the field and McCaffrey takes his place to create an empty 3-by-2 look. Dallas has zero idea of how to respond to this. Jordan Lewis was going to be close to the line of scrimmage and jam Jawan Jennings, but now he has to line up wider to guard McCaffrey. Because of this, Jennings just has to get by Vander Esch, who was just frantically directing traffic earlier, to get into his route. It's this deep out, and there's only one high safety there to stop him in Malik Hooker. Once the play begins, a quick route opens up in the middle of the field. This will be an easy 1st down, but Purdy thinks big. He sees that Jennings is about to have a ton of space to make a catch thanks to Hooker playing so far up the field. So, he throws his way, and it results in a long catch. And here's the big one, which is the trick play the 49ers ran for a touchdown. Kittle is going to motion right, leaving 7 guys on the line. Deebo is the number 2 on the wide side and will run towards the backfield to receive a pitch from McCaffrey before tossing it back to Purdy. In front of them, Jennings is going to run a deep post with the intention of drawing Stephon Gilmore away from where this play is going to go. There's one high safety in Kearse, and the 49ers are going to try and dupe him with the reverse by making him drift to his right. All of that takes place, and Gilmore and Kearse are now out of the picture, leaving nobody to stop Kittle, who's running a delayed route to catch Dallas by surprise. Everything goes to plan, the Cowboys are completely fooled, and Kittle coasts by Lewis to be open for the throw and touchdown. I'd be remiss if I failed to discuss Purdy too, because he had a really good game. We could start with the 49ers' first touchdown on this 1st and 10 play. Kittle's running a deep post across the one high safety, but Marquise Bell is in the passing lane a little bit. DeMarcus Lawrence is also creating some pressure from Purdy's right, so he steps up and rolls out. On the run, Purdy makes a really good throw to Kittle, who's by himself after clearing Bell and staying above Gilmore, who's held up by the underneath route. He had another really good throw later in the game on a 1st and 15. Kittle and Juszczyk both go left to right, leaving Ayuk by himself running this crosser. The play design is good, but this play was all Purdy. He fires a pass to Ayuk that he anticipates well, and not only does it get there quickly, but he's able to zip it past this linebacker and put it on the money. It was his best throw of the game, and even in traffic, Purdy got the job done. But you might say, well, alright Nick, the 49ers run a bunch of wacky and creative stuff every week. What gives? Well, first, it's just fun to break down and analyze because there's new stuff all the time, and secondly, there is something else I want to discuss, and that's how undisciplined and unprepared Dallas was to stop it. I can show you many plays, but I'll show you 2 glaring examples that happened on one drive. This is the 3rd and 13 play, and just watch how unorganized Dallas is pre-snap. Van Der Esch is trying to coordinate everything, but they just have no idea what they're doing, and they get burned as a result when Samuel runs a deep crosser inside after Jennings draws several defenders upfield with his seam route. A few plays later, we have a 3rd and 2. There's a one high safety in Hooker, but he's forced to drop down to deal with Juszczyk's motion to the left. I'm assuming this was a rock and roll check because Kearse comes back towards the middle, but he's not that high at all. In fact, he's very close to the rest of the defenders when the play starts and even takes a few steps down post-snap. As a result, Dallas goes from having one high safety to no high safety, which leaves poor Donovan Wilson on an island against Kittle. He runs a route right into the space where a safety should be, and it's an easy touchdown for the 49ers. The Dallas run defense was also terrible. Yes, the 49ers have a fantastic run game, but the Cowboys looked like they just rolled over and died on some of these run plays. Too often, defenders weren't hitting their gaps correctly and got sealed off the edge too easily. The 49ers were gaining leverage quickly and with little difficulty, and when that happens, it cascades onto the rest of the defense and makes the jobs of the people behind them very difficult. The Dallas defense was just so toothless against the 49ers, and it started with the lackluster job up front. But enough about the Dallas defense. Let's flip to the other side and talk about the Cowboys offense versus the 49ers defense. Before we get into some of the Cowboys' scheme issues, we're going to talk about their boogeyman in Fred Warner, because he was all over the field against Dallas. First, he did a nice job of getting off this block before punching the ball loose to cause a fumble, and then later the game on this 3rd and 2, he somehow takes away a pass and a run all at once. Dak Prescott is going to try and target this route from CeeDee Lamb. He rolls out to try and hit him before encountering Warner. Now, let's break down exactly what Warner does on this play. First, he causes a jam that gets Lamb off balance. Then he gets right in front of the passing lane so Dak can't make the throw, and then he quickly comes downfield and gets the sack. He did that all in one play, and extremely quickly as well. He's the only linebacker in football that can make a play like this too, and it's why he was in the heads of so many Cowboys players during the game. Now, let's get into Dallas' scheme issues, because boy were there many of them. I don't even know what to focus on specifically because there was just so much that went wrong. First, McCarthy tried running some sideways stuff against the 49ers, and that just isn't going to work with the talent San Francisco has, especially a linebacker. They first did it with this 1-2 read on the boundary side of the field. Dak's first read and Jake Ferguson is immediately covered, so he goes to the second read, which is, for some reason, a check down to Tony Pollard? Yeah, that was the second read on this play, and that obviously went poorly. Dre Greenlaw reads it like a book and makes a vicious tackle to force a loss. They tried doing this on run plays too, where they tried to get around the edge with Tony Pollard, and again, it just didn't work. The Cowboys can't set the edge, and the 49ers get there very quickly to force the tackle for the loss. On top of that, this offense has become way too based on quick reads that require Dak to get the ball out fast or the play is doomed. They were trying to get the 49ers to dive via paper cuts, and it just didn't work. So many of these quick reads had routes either short of the sticks or so close to the line of scrimmage. Not only that, the routes are so close together that it makes life easy for a single defender to cover multiple pass catchers at once. The problem just got so ridiculous at times too. Like, why, on a 3rd and 5, do you have multiple routes that are short of the sticks? It just doesn't make sense, and when the ball's thrown there, it goes about as well as you thought it would. it doesn't get a first down. There's little variation in these plays either. Take this interception. Sure, you can put this on Dak and you'd have a case, but you'll see a bigger problem if you scratch the surface. This is a quick, one-read play where we have double slants on the same side. A good way to run this is if you have one of these be a one-step slant and the other be a three-step slant. That way, you get a good read on the linebacker so you figure out where to throw the ball. But instead, both are three-step slants, meaning this linebacker can just sit here and essentially cover both routes. Could this ball not be thrown anyway? Sure, but the thing is, the ball is thrown here because that's the design of the play. It makes Dak read this side and throw quickly, and that's the problem. This offense has shrunk so many of its good players, and this isn't me making excuses for Dak either, because it's not just him this is happening to. Lamb is off to the worst statistical start in his career. They have no idea how to use Brandon Cooks, and their second-round tight end has 6 touches and 1 total yard through 5 games. 1! We were promised a unique offense, and instead, it's just a dummied-down version of the offense Kellen Moore ran last year. There's not much explosiveness, and they're so worried about Dak throwing interceptions that they made him run an offense with mainly short and quick throws. And not only is that not it didn't even solve the interception problem against the 49ers. Was Dak not good enough against San Francisco? Absolutely. It was an F game for him. He had many bad plays like this missed to Schoonmaker early in the game, or this egregious throw leading to a very awful interception in tight coverage. Although it mainly happened because A, the Cowboys were down by 18 points late in the game, and there's also nowhere else for him to throw on the field. Another poorly designed play. You can blame Dak, and it isn't entirely unjustified, but he was far from the only problem for Dallas, and if you're pointing the finger solely at him, then it's misguided. We're 5 weeks into the season, and the Cowboys still don't have an offensive identity. They still haven't come fully together, and that could be a problem if we don't see some major changes from them. They were not only outplayed against San Francisco, they had so many self-inflicted wounds on top of it. And oh yeah, the 49ers are not just the most complete team in football, they're the best team in the league until proven otherwise. I picked them to be in the Super Bowl preseason, and if they keep dominating opponents like this, they're 100% going to be right there. That'll end things here. Make sure to like this video, subscribe and turn on notifications for this channel, comment your thoughts, and share this video with others. And as always, thanks for watching.